Elena, a 38-year-old stepmother restless with hidden yearning, felt the air shift the moment it happened. I was changing on the couch, my stepson watched, so I invited him to play. The living room lay cloaked in shadow, the only light a faint amber glow from the lamp in the corner, casting long, trembling fingers across the walls. My fingers fumbled with the hem of my blouse, peeling it away to reveal the soft curve of my shoulders, the fabric whispering against my skin as it fell. I hadn't meant for it to happen like this, not really. But there he was, Julian, standing in the doorway, his silhouette sharp against the hall's dimness, his eyes catching mine and holding them, unblinking. I reached for the silk camisole draped over the armrest, its cool sheen slipping through my grasp like water. As I slid it over my head, the fabric clung to me, tracing the lines of my body, my breasts, my waist, each movement slow, deliberate, though I told myself it wasn't. I could feel him watching, his gaze a weight that pressed into me, heavy and warm, stirring something deep in my core. My breath hitched, a quiet sound swallowed by the stillness, and I turned my head just enough to meet his stare. His eyes weren't soft or curious. They burned, dark and steady, peeling away the layers I'd wrapped around myself for years. "Come here," I said, my voice low, barely more than a murmur, the words slipping out before I could cage them. An invitation. A dare. He stepped forward, the floor creaking under his weight, and the space between us shrank until it was nothing but a thread, taut and trembling. I shifted on the couch, the leather cool against my thighs, and reached out, my hand brushing his wrist as he stood before me. The contact was fleeting, a graze of skin on skin, but it jolted through me like a current, sharp, electric, forbidden. My pulse thundered in my ears, a wild rhythm I couldn't tame, and I wondered if he could hear it too. He didn't pull away. His wrist stayed there, firm under my fingertips, the heat of him seeping into me, spreading like ink through water. I should have stopped then, should have laughed it off, blamed the late hour or the wine I hadn't even touched. But I didn't. I couldn't. My mind spun, a tangle of thoughts I'd buried too long. His broad shoulders, the way his shirt stretched across his chest, the faint musk of him that lingered in the air, earthy and raw. He was my stepson, yes, but he was also a man, 22 and solid, his presence filling the room until it pressed against me, inescapable. The silk clung to my skin now, damp with the faint sheen of sweat I hadn't noticed until that moment. My chest rose and fell, each breath a little too quick, a little too shallow, betraying the calm I tried to hold. I let my fingers linger on his wrist, tracing the edge of a vein that pulsed beneath the surface, and the thrill of it, the wrongness, sank into me like a stone. I'd spent years building walls, playing the role of the composed stepmother, the one who smiled and nodded and kept the peace. But here, in this shadowed room, those walls cracked, and something feral slipped through. His breath was close now, warm against my cheek as he leaned in, not touching, not yet, but near enough that I felt the air shift with every exhale. My body responded before my mind could catch up. My spine arched slightly, my thighs pressed together, a heat pooling low in my belly that I couldn't ignore. I wanted to reach for him, to pull him down onto the couch, to feel the weight of him against me, but I held back, teetering on the edge of something I couldn't name. Guilt gnawed at me, sharp and insistent, but it only sharpened the ache, made it brighter, more alive. What was I doing? The question flickered through me, faint and fleeting, drowned by the roar of my own blood. His gaze dropped to my lips, then lower, tracing the line of my collarbone where the silk dipped, and I felt it like a touch, invisible but searing. My hand tightened on his wrist, not pulling, not pushing, just holding, anchoring myself as the tension coiled tighter, a wire stretched to breaking. The room seemed smaller now, the shadows deeper, the air thick with something unspoken, something we both felt but wouldn't say. I shifted again, the leather creaking beneath me, and my knee brushed his leg, another spark flaring in the dark. My thoughts fractured. His hands, rough from work, the way his jaw tightened when he looked at me, the heat of his breath so close I could taste it. I was unraveling piece by piece, and I didn't care. Not then. Not with him standing there, watching me like I was something he'd hungered for, something he'd waited to claim. The forbidden pulsed between us, alive and insistent, and I knew I couldn't escape it. Not tonight. Not with him so near. Not with my own desire clawing its way to the surface, raw and unrepentant. Elena yields as the night thickens, the air in the living room growing heavy, saturated with the scent of leather and something darker, something that belongs to him. My fingers, trembling with a will of their own, trace the sharp line of Julian's jaw, the stubble there rough against my skin, igniting a flood of heat that surges through me, molten and unstoppable. He's so close now, his body a solid presence beside me on the couch, and the space between us collapses, a thread snapping under too much strain. I don't know who moves first. Maybe it's me, maybe it's him, but suddenly his hand is on my thigh, firm and warm through the silk, and the world tilts. Boundaries melt in a tangle of limbs and breath, the leather creaking beneath us as I shift, my body pressing into his. My camisole rides up, the cool air kissing my stomach, before his fingers find the exposed skin, calluses scraping lightly, sending shivers racing up my spine. I feel the weight of him, the hard planes of his chest against my softness, and it's overwhelming. Too much, and not enough all at once. My hands slide up his arms, gripping the muscle there, anchoring myself as the tide of sensation pulls me under. His breath is ragged now, hot against my neck, and I tilt my head back, offering more, wanting more, the ache in me blooming into something wild and untamed. The intimacy unfolds in a vivid rush of touch and pulse, every movement deliberate yet frantic, like we're racing against some unseen clock. His lips find the hollow of my throat, not a kiss but a graze, teeth brushing skin, and a sound escapes me. Low, primal, a thing I didn't know I could make. My fingers dig into his shoulders, nails biting through his shirt, and he responds with a press of his hips, a slow grind that sends heat pooling low, liquid, and insistent. The silk clings to me, damp now, molding to every curve as my body arches, seeking him, surrendering to the pull I've fought too long. My senses drown in him, the musk of his skin, sharp and earthy, the salt of sweat as I taste the edge of his collarbone with a flick of my tongue. Guilt wars with rapture, a jagged edge slicing through the haze, but it only sharpens the pleasure, makes it brighter, more real. He's my stepson, the thought flares, bright and accusing, but it's swallowed by the roar of my blood, the thrum of my pulse in my ears. His hand slides higher, cupping me through the silk, thumb brushing a peak that tightens under his touch, and I gasp, the sound swallowed by the dark. I'm unraveling piece by piece, and I let it happen, let myself fall into the abyss of him. The couch shifts beneath us, leather slick against my thighs as I twist, pulling him closer, needing him closer. His shirt is gone now. When did that happen? And my palms roam the expanse of his back, tracing the ridges of muscle, the heat of him searing into me. My legs part, instinctive, and he settles between them, the weight of him pressing me down, grounding me even as I spin out of control. The friction is exquisite. A slow burn that builds with every roll of his hips, every catch of his breath against my ear. I feel the tension coiling in me, tight and trembling. A wire stretched to snapping, and I chase it, reckless and unrepentant. This is reshaping me, this silent transformative pull that binds us. His hands are everywhere, my hips, my waist, tangling in my hair. And I'm lost in the rhythm of it, the give and take, the way our bodies fit like they were made for this. My mind fractures, thoughts scattering like ash. His eyes, dark and hungry, the way his jaw clenches as he moves, the heat of his skin against mine. Shame flickers, a shadow at the edge, but it's drowned by the flood of him. The way he fills every corner of me, body and soul. I'm not the stepmother here, not the woman who pours coffee and folds laundry. I'm something else, something raw and alive, and it terrifies me as much as it thrills me. The air is thick now, heavy with the sound of us, breath, skin, the faint creak of the couch, and I feel the crest rising, inevitable, unstoppable. My hands clutch at him, desperate, and he moves faster, harder, matching the need I can't voice. It hits me like a wave, crashing through me, a shudder that starts deep and radiates out, leaving me trembling beneath him. He follows, a low groan vibrating against my chest, and the weight of him collapses onto me, warm and solid, tethering me to the earth as I float, sated and unraveling all at once. I lie there, his breath slowing against my neck, my fingers still tangled in his hair, and the silence settles over us, heavy and full. The guilt creeps back, sharper now, but it's laced with something else. Fulfillment, a quiet ache that lingers in my bones. I've crossed a line, and there's no going back, not from this. He shifts, his hand resting on my hip, and I feel the connection still humming between us. Unspoken, undeniable. The night stretches on, and I'm left with the pieces of myself, scattered and remade, wondering what I've done, and what I'll do next.